What's up, guys? Welcome back to Decentralized News. In today's video, I want to just talk about this whole issue of the US spot Bitcoin ETF, which some news came out just a few hours ago.
This is CoinDesk Daily. I'm Jen Sanasi. Any SEC approval of a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund will not be a game changer for crypto markets. That's the top line of a new report from JP Morgan. An analyst says these ETFs have existed for some time outside the US, in Canada, and in Europe, but have failed to attract large investor interest. A unit of BlackRock filed paperwork last month for the formation of a spot Bitcoin ETF, prompting other asset managers to follow, including Bitwise. The SEC has yet to approve such an ETF, but Bitwise's chief investment officer, Matt Hogan, told CoinDesk earlier
they're the largest ETF issuer in the world. They're very careful. They're very connected. And I would be lying if I didn't say that that was an important signal as well.
That approvals are now in sight, now that the SEC has acknowledged accepting a BlackRock spot, a Bitcoin ETF application for review. This obviously means that it hasn't been granted, but they will be reviewing it. And as far as deadlines go, we're looking at a deadline of about 45 days from about this time, or as long as 240 days. But what I really want obviously to touch on with this whole spot Bitcoin ETF situation is what a lot of people have been asking me, which is how is this expected to actually impact the markets once, let's say, for just speculative purposes, that the Bitcoin ETF gets approved. Okay, so if it does get approved, obviously the question of what could happen to the price of Bitcoin if this ETF is approved in the United States is something that's obviously very intriguing to a lot of us. It follows a flurry of recent filings from not only BlackRock but from other firms as well. And just to unravel the possible sort of scenarios, we need to first understand, of course, the mechanics of an ETF and its historical impact on asset prices. Okay, so an ETF is effectively a type of investment fund or an exchange traded product that is traded on stock exchanges, and ETFs are more or less similar to mutual funds, but they do trade like a common stock on a stock exchange. Okay, so they do offer public investors with an avenue to gain exposure to an asset or a portfolio of assets, rather, from stocks to commodities and now cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, without having to actually own the underlying asset, which is very, very attractive to a lot of institutional investors. Okay, so ETFs do have a critical role in providing markets with liquidity by sort of offering exposure to a diverse range of assets that can actually make it easy for investors to buy and sell those assets, which actually boosts liquidity as well. So increased liquidity often results in more efficient price discovery, minimizing the spread between buy and sell prices. So let's talk about just the historical impact of ETFs on asset prices. Okay, so historically, the approval of an ETF has tended to sort of positively affect the price of an underlying asset. For instance, when the first gold ETF was approved in the US in 2004, it did open the floodgates for retail and institutional investors, leading to that increased demand for gold. And this surge in demand significantly drove the price of gold up. And in the context of Bitcoin, we are sort of looking at this in a similar sort of way, where we're looking at if the introduction of a Bitcoin ETF does come about, then this could similarly open up interest to a broad range of investors, particularly traditional investors who haven't or who have been a little bit hesitant to engage with crypto due to its volatility and also just the complexity of digital asset custody and I think they will find this ETF more of an attractive avenue. So let's talk about the potential upside for Bitcoin prices. So the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETF could significantly obviously boost that price of BTC. Firstly, just the endorsement would offer a degree of legitimacy and a regulatory sort of sanctity to Bitcoin, which could entice more risk-averse investors into the market, driving demand and obviously by extension bolstering the price as well. In addition to this, the liquidity that is provided by the ETF could also ease the process of buying and selling Bitcoin, potentially attracting more participants to the market. The more participation generally means more capital inflows, which could also positively drive up the price of Bitcoin. Moreover, the increased accessibility and exposure could also lead to a higher adoption rate of BTC, which also contributes to the mainstream acceptance of this asset class, potentially also boosting the price. But, with every upside, we have to talk about the downside. Okay, so what's the potential downside? If ETF is approved, this could also, aside from bringing all those benefits, it also could bring these downsides. It could lead to an increased price volatility situation, especially in the short term when once it's out, market participants will be responding to the new trading instrument. Of course, additionally, while an ETF would make Bitcoin more accessible to institutional investors, it could also make the market more susceptible to manipulation and speculative trading. You know what the Wall Street gang does, okay? This could lead to a drastic price swings as well. And over the long term, if Bitcoin becomes largely viewed as a speculative asset rather than a store of value, this could also harm its proposition. I'm talking about BTC here at this point. So, in the global context of a Bitcoin ETF, obviously the impact of this ETF has been relatively positive. In Canada, for instance, where multiple Bitcoin ETFs have been approved since 2021, the price has seen a general upward trend, albeit obviously typical to what is going on across the board in the market cycle. But what it does suggest is that at least this Bitcoin ETF could actually also just positively sort of affect a price. So at the end of the day, the approval of the ETF in the US, as it's proposed by firms like BlackRock. It's not the first, by the way. We can talk about other firms that have tried to do this before, Grayscale, etc. But of course, everybody knows that BlackRock is the big dog in this whole situation, having had so many of the ETFs approved and only, I think, one historically that hasn't gone their way. But obviously, based on this historical evidence and the mechanics of ETFs, the approval could trigger a rise in the price of BTC, driving demand, enhancing liquidity, also just fostering greater legitimacy of the asset in the markets. It's also crucial, though, to just recognize that the development could also lead to some other new risks, market manipulation by whales, and with all these financial decisions, if you are a potential investor, you should definitely carefully weigh all of these risks before you make any decisions to base your purchase of BTC sort of based on this idea that there will be an ETF which will likely drive up the price. Let me know what you guys think. I've been getting a lot of people asking me about this. I just thought I'd make a quick video just to give you my opinion on the whole situation. What I do think ultimately is, at the end of the day, we need the markets to mature. And I think it's a natural progression that the more adoption, the more, we hit that exponential growth curve in terms of just people really acknowledging and recognizing the value proposition of Bitcoin. We are going to end up getting institutions and big capital market money players coming into the space. What you need to do is to sort of weigh out, where you stand, if you're willing to take the risk, investing in Bitcoin on the long term. If you do understand the value proposition, if you do want to learn more, rather go to decentralized.news, which is our main site. We've got a whole host of cryptocurrency exchange reviews, DeFi platforms, NFT marketplaces, free resources and tools for beginners, intermediate, advanced, digital asset players. Anybody and everybody has something that they could definitely learn from our site. So make sure you go to decentralized.news, destroy that like and subscribe button. Also make sure you join our Telegram and our Discord server. Don't forget to download my free book, DeFi Millionaire. You can find that at defi-millionaire.com. It's a free download if you want to understand more about decentralized finance and how you can kind of capitalize on this whole new era and kind of the new wave of capital markets, and maybe make a buck or two. So let me know what you guys think. I will be back with another one very soon. Make sure you leave a comment if you want me to talk about anything else that you are really just wondering or trying to understand in these crypto markets. But if you need anything else, make sure you check out the links in the description. If you're an investor, trader, if you want to know the best platforms to really do your trades on, I like to use non-custodial decentralized exchange, G-Trade, MUX, Sin Futures, Apex Protocol, a whole lot. All the links are in the description. Make sure you hit those, and I'll see you in the next. Peace, love.